Jehane, you were not here on the 25th, were you?
No.
Where were you?
I was flying to Davos.
To Davos. And then what happened? Tell us the story then.
I was flying to Davos. I knew about the
event. You could talk to the people. I could come here. Can I?
It's very... Okay.
Huh?
Okay. I knew about the event. There's not really anyone to look at, though. It's so dark.
There's a lot of light here.
Okay. No, I knew about what was happening, and it was police day, and I had also heard, although apparently it was a rumor, that it was a vacation for the first time. But I guess it's the second year that they've given a national holiday for police day.
Yeah.
So, but according to our driver, he said, oh, the government must be really afraid because they've given a national holiday, so they don't want people to come down to work. And I had made a film about about protests that had been happening, about three amazing women who had started an organization called Shefinkum, which is a play on words, shefin.com, but it was also Shefinkum, we see you. And their goal was about 4 years ago to videotape a lot of what was happening, the irregularities during the elections, and bring those videos to judges, post them online, basically use social media to educate people and get people talking and discussing about freedom of speech, democracy, voting rights. So I had been in contact with these women, and so I knew that this was about to happen, and I knew about Tunisia, and I thought, is this going to break now? Many journalists calling me up saying that they were coming to Cairo, a couple of them. But I actually
When was it that you actually decided to come?
I decided to come, so I went to Davos because I thought it would be very interesting to be around the leadership of the country if something was about to happen, because there would be a lot of people at the protests that could be filming. As a filmmaker, you constantly think, where should I be filming? As a documentary filmmaker, because you follow things as they happen. So I was in Davos. Most of the leadership of Egypt canceled, actually. Amr Moussa was there, but I think most people had canceled. And so right after the protest happened, I was then trying to get back as soon as I could.
Okay, we know about the flying part, and then you arrived at Cairo, and then you left the airport. Not right away.
You could tell when I landed, you could tell things were quite chaotic, and people were. They were confiscating cameras from everybody. So there were a lot of journalists that had come in, and all cameras were taken from everybody. So you knew that, and it was, I believe, the third that I came in, and then I was driving probably about 20 minutes or so, and we got stopped at a bunch of army checkpoints.
And there was one exciting one.
There's one very exciting one.
Tell them the story.
Where they stopped me, and they stopped our car, and they went through. It was a plainclothes guy, so it was a bit confusing because you didn't know. And there were all of the civilian checkpoints as well, so you didn't know exactly who was checking the car, although we knew this was military because there was a tank. And they went through all of the bags.
Were you frightened at that point or not?
No. When they were going through the bags, I just thought, they're just checking for more camera equipment.
Yeah.
Or something.
And then?
So they went through one of my bags and pulled out a DVD, the DVD that I had made 4 years ago. But it was, for 4 years, I had never put my name on the film because I had heard from friends of mine here, you never know, you just, you might, if you want to keep coming back to the country and you don't want to be on a list, don't touch democracy, don't touch these kinds of questions. You don't know, you might not be able to make another film here, and so.
So it was anonymous.
You didn't know. It's this big black box of you just have no idea.
Were they excited? The army people, were they excited to find the film? They thought they're onto something.
So they found this film. At the time, I didn't know that they said, what's this? And as they pulled it out, I'd never put my name on it, but it was a translated copy in Arabic, and for the first time, I saw Shaifinkum by Jehane Noujaim in Arabic. I was like, how did that happen? I've never seen a copy of the film with my name on it in my life. And the BBC had sent me a couple copies, and this one had my name on it. So they said, what's this? I said, it's a DVD. And they stuck it back in. They went through the rest of the things. I was like, okay, we're good, we're good. And then they said, no, I think that you need to come for
We're not good.
Question.
So
we went to another location. There were a few people that were blindfolded being taken into a big building. That started to make me nervous, and I called a couple of friends and I said, I don't know where and then I asked an officer, an army guy, where I was. And
so would you have preferred to be blindfolded as well, so you wouldn't see the other blindfolded people?
That might have been a better option.
That's a good tip to give them.
I was very happy that I wasn't blindfolded. Actually, it turns out that I was treated quite well. I was taken to a conference room. I was offered tea. I was treated very nicely. But the psychological part of it, when you have no idea who you're talking to or where you're going or how long you're going to be there or why you're there or when things might turn, is the part.
And during that part, you got some genius plan.
Yeah, I had a genius plan to destroy the DVD. So that was I was like, okay, I had by that time realized, okay, this DVD has my co-director, Sharif Al-Kacha, who is now, fine with me announcing his name, but that was on the DVD. I wasn't sure whether he would want his name known, and I just didn't know. I didn't know who I was talking to. So, and I was scared. I didn't know. I just didn't know what the situation was. Egypt was upside down. I didn't know, and so I decided I'm going to go to the bathroom and break the DVD and shove it down a drain. I've all of a sudden become, in this spy movie or something, and so I'm doing that, and I'm like, okay, now I'm good. I go back and I sit down with them. I forgot one part. I decided to do that when they said, and then they said, so do you want to talk about your DVDs? And I was like, and I just continued to say that I was freaked out, and I continued to say I'd never made a film in Cairo, blah, 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 blah. And about 3 minutes later, this guy comes in holding a shred of the DVD. Walks into the room, and he says, what's this?
I think you missed the part.
Oh, I did?
Yeah, where you tried to recover it.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Right before, after I'd shoved it down the drain. This is a gross part.
No, it's not. It's very cool. This is politics.
Okay.
This is revolutionary.
Okay. After I shoved it down the drain, I decided that was a really dumb idea, that they would find it, and then I'd be
because it showed. Because DVDs are not like napkins.
Right.
Couldn't just throw them in.
They don't disappear.
Yeah.
So. I obviously can never be hired as a thief or a spy or something. I don't know. So that's when I just.
So you recovered it.
So I recovered it
from the toilet.
I recovered it. I shoved it. As you can tell, last night we were like, what are we going to talk about today? And we started to tell these kinds of stories. Of course, mine didn't match another person in this room's story, and I felt like it was a very cushy detention story. But anyway. So I took it out of the drain, shoved it in my pocket. The guy walks in. He's found a shred of the DVD. And the guys are sitting there looking at me like, okay, we've got you. And I just realized all of a sudden, I said, why are you lying about this? You made a film about 3 incredible Egyptian women who are fighting for democratic rights, freedom of speech. You made a film, why are you lying? Why don't you just tell them that you made a film? And at that moment, it was just kind of this huge relief where you just kind of realize, what am I doing wrong here? It was this 3 hours where I was put in the mentality of you're doing something wrong and we're gonna figure it out. And I had played a part in that because of all of this kind of paranoia that had been building. And so I just said, is it a crime to be making a film?
Do you know what triggered this, that moment of enlightenment?
Well,
Why am I so afraid I didn't do anything wrong?
First of all, I was caught. I mean, that was a major trigger, you know. And then secondly, you know, you go back and forth between, you know, at one point I said, should I really be, you know, isn't this the point where people say I should get a lawyer in here to be answering these questions or something? But by this time my phones were gone, so there was no way to call anybody. So, and I said, you know, I have an American passport in all of this. So I have an Egyptian passport and an American passport. So I shouldn't, you know, I compare myself to the many people out there who don't have this escape route, you know, and I had a very, very cushy experience. Obviously.
Actually, the guy interrogating G put that aside because he just had the two passports in his hand and said, well, this we've got nothing to do with. And now you're an Egyptian.
Yeah.
And she fell for the trap.
Yeah,
it worked with her.
It's true. At one point when I said, you know, I think that I should be having a lawyer right now or something, he picks up my American passport and he says, لا أنا بكلمك أنت مصرية دلوقتي. And he puts down my American passport and says, you know.
What do you think did you have in common with the people? Let's go on. With the people in Tahrir, with the revolutionary?
At that moment, and this was only after 3 hours of questioning and this incredible feeling of relief that you feel when you finally just say, what I'm asking for is the right thing, or what I'm doing is the right thing, you know? And after that, I had been told, you know, maybe you shouldn't be going to Tahrir Square. It's you know, when you get there, I went directly to Tahrir Square after that. And what I saw in the people was this incredible, magical spirit where I realized that what happens to people after 30 years of, you know,
bad stuff,
worry, just worry that you're gonna, you know, that you'll get caught doing the wrong thing, and not even sure what you're worried about, I think. And that it was very obvious. If I'd been able to show a clip, it's very obvious in the film 4 years ago where the women are going around and talking to people. Why aren't you getting on the street? Why aren't you talking about your rights? Why aren't you going to your representative? And the answer is, you know, we'll be put in jail if we go and try to demonstrate on the street, you know? And so to not even be able to have your voice heard and to be able to discuss these things for such a long time, you know, once that's lifted, I felt such a connection between what I had just experienced and what I saw in Tahrir. You saw creativity. You saw people talking about politics in a way you'd never seen them talk before. You saw classes of Cairo interacting with each other, and conservatives and liberals interacting with each other in a way that you'd never seen before. I mean, it was an incredible place.
Could you briefly please tell us about the ones, you've filmed a lot of people in the square. Mm-hmm. Would you please tell us about some of them?
I think that I followed Buthaina Kamel, who's she used to work for Egyptian State TV before she quit and worked for Orbit, and she's one of the, she has a show on Orbit now, and she's one of the characters in the previous film. So I continued to follow her now 4 years later. And she's just, I mean, she's out interviewing people, and I would say is the same kind of personality who is out there, and really the scene that I was going to show with her is basically saying, I wasn't sure what democracy would look like. I wasn't sure, you know, we've all had this fear that you know, if democracy happens, will a population which is, you know, I don't know what the numbers are, but 40–50% illiterate, be able to handle democracy? And we're still asking that question now, but to go to Tahrir and to be there and to see the level of political discussion that was happening there was quite amazing. When I saw this through Buthaina, because she was bringing that out in people, and she was having people talk about the Constitution and what needed to change, and people were very, very you know, excited to do that. I was witness to an incredible discussion between a guy who sympathizes with the Brotherhood and was talking to one of these kind of internet Facebook guys, and basically said, you know, when we first got here, we see you with your long hair and your earrings and your internet and your AUC and you know, who are you? You know, and this, you're not Egyptian. You're from, you know, you come in and out of here, and you don't care about the country. And what I've seen you do, sleeping in this square and fighting for your rights, you led this revolution, and I see a respect. And I saw that conversation a couple of times where he was expressing such respect.
Did you, living in the States, did you have this little, at least a piece of that Islamophobia for yourself?
Well, it's all over the media all the time. I mean, that's exactly what the big fear is are we going to be another Iran? And
would you say that you personally have dealt with that in the square, thanks to the square?
Well, the conversations, I mean, I've gotten into it in the conversations, you know? I mean, I've been filming people who have gotten into it in the conversations, and basically said, this same person, Magdi, who has become a character in the film, asking him, well, what would happen if somebody from the Brotherhood took over, you know? And he said, well, look, I can speak for myself, and, you know, I'm never going to be somebody that drinks, but I think that everybody we've seen here, that everybody should have their own freedoms. And I'm not saying, you know, that there's been massive Facebook discussions about this. Is he really representative of the entire population or not? I don't know, but it was incredible. And to see somebody basically say, sure, drink, but, you know, don't drink and drive and kill my kid, you know? And
fair enough. What do you think of Valentine's Day? Do you like it? Do you hate it?
So I think Valentine's Day is a Hallmark holiday, which I don't.
Okay,
love,
you have 40 seconds to tell them about your Valentine's story.
I have a new appreciation for Valentine's Day, because on Valentine's Day I got a very sweet SMS from my new Muslim Brotherhood friend wishing me a happy Valentine's.